the force is with me.
What is going on, fellow gamers? It's your boy Foe, and I'm coming at you with another Gaslands video. And we're talking about Miyazaki. I've been wanting to get into this team for a while, and I think they're starting to become my favorite faction. I just love them. So I got a bunch of cars here, and I think when I picture Miyazaki, now listen, don't be jumping down my throat, being like, that's not how you pronounce it. It's pronounced like this. It's pronounced like, listen, to me it's Miyazaki, baby. And that's what I'm going to be doing today, is some cars for Gaslands. Now, first and foremost, we got the 2008 Lancer Evolution. Because when I think Miyazaki, I'm thinking tuners, I'm thinking some exotics, I'm thinking drifting, I'm thinking fancy driving, and you know what? Nissan really does drifters the best, maybe the best. Now I know a lot of you have a lot of opinions over which cars drift the best, but I feel like Nissan does it really well. And that's why I chose to go with a couple of Nissans as well. So first off, you got the Lancer Evolution 2008. I'm loving this thing. Let's crack this bad boy open. Pop open the clamshell to this bad boy. Throw the paper over there. You don't need it. This is what we're looking at, folks. This was, I believe, a special Gran Turismo edition Hot Wheels. So I think these are coming from the Gran Turismo game. I think I was in Best Buy when I found these. I was in Best Buy. I was in the video game section because I was looking at Switches and stuff for the Switch. And for some reason, in the Switch aisle, they had a whole bunch of Hot Wheels stuff. And it wasn't like your normal Hot Wheels wall. It was like Gran Turismo cars, and it was more like video game based. So I guess that's why they had it in the video game section. They had nowhere else to put it. They got these Hot Wheel cars in. And look, we got to stick it somewhere. We don't got a toy section. You had Reggie running around like a lunatic. Reggie, the poor guy. He gets the box off the pallet. He puts it down in his section. He opens it up. He's like, wait, how we don't even sell toys here. Like, why do we have Hot Wheels? This is Best Buy. And then Susie, she's walking around. You know, she has to poke her nose into everything. And she's like, why do we have Hot Wheels in Best Buy? And Reggie's like, I have no idea. I don't know where to put these things. And then Tom comes walking over. And, you know, Tom's like the one guy that works in like every big box store. He's kind of like the older veteran. He's wearing his jeans just a little too high. He always has a multi-tool on his belt. Listen, I'm not knocking multi-tools. I always have a multi-tool on my belt too. Don't get me wrong, but you know who I'm talking about. He has a pen in his breast pocket on the regular. He has a little strap that goes around his glasses to hold it around his neck. You know who I'm talking about. Loves flannel. And he suggested we should put these in the video game section. You know, it seems like Gran Turismo, it's a video game. Let's stick it with the video games. Susie wasn't buying it. She stormed off. She was pissed off because she had a few suggestions and Tom ignored it. Well, anyway, you got this. What the hell am I talking about? Like, why did I just go into this rant about Best Buy and what Susie would be buying? Or not even buying, she works there. I'm losing track of my characters. What is going on? You know what? Let's get back into Gaslands and check out the rest of the cars. So we're going to put this bad boy down right here. I'm losing all of my cars. Then we got the Nissan Skyline Gtr. This is one of my favorites. Again, from the Gran Turismo line. Now, if you watched a couple of videos back, or a bunch of videos back, I like to cut the blisters in half to save space in my storage area because it was getting out of control. I had nowhere to put all these Hot Wheels that I impulse buy, and I was starting to overflow. So cutting the blisters off actually made a lot more space to store them and put them away. So there you go. You got the Skyline. This thing's looking awesome. I love the shape of this thing. I think I'm going to put some nice fat tires on. I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing yet, but I'm loving the shape. This car, you got the spoilers in the back. I'm loving it. Then next up, you got the Nissan 300 Twin Turbo. And this thing, I saw this, actually, this is a recent buy. I saw this the other day, and I was thinking about my Miyazaki team, and I had to get it. This one's pretty cool. You got this, you got the T-top sunroof, I guess. And this is looking pretty cool. Maybe you can have some people coming out these windows on top. So I'm going to try and take advantage of the fact that there's windows on top over there. Then we're going to bust into the exotics. So these are going to be the cars. These are going to be the tuners. They're going to be a little bit cheaper than the rest of the team. And this is going to be like the backbone of the team that I'm coming up with in my head. I'm actually not even sure exactly on weapon loadouts yet. This is all going to happen as I go along. Which, I don't know if you guys noticed, that's kind of the way I do things. I kind of just go with my gut. I build everything organically as I'm going. I don't really have a plan too often. So now we're going to get into... We got the Mclaren F1 Gtr. McLaren's is one of those cars, is like, it's one of my fantasy cars. I mean, if I could have any car in the world, like a fantasy car, like an exotic, I would want a Ferrari. But these are a close second. Lambos are a little too small for me, but these are a close second behind the Ferrari. As a matter of fact, if anybody could get me some Ferrari Hot Wheels, you have any lying around, you want to trade or something, hit me up in the comments, hit me up on the Gaslands Facebook, because I'm looking to pick up some Hot Wheels. Ferraris, they're really hard to find. This thing, I'm thinking, not too many weapons. It's going to be mostly driver upgrades, which is what I like to do with my exotic cars most of the time. I usually build them for speed. Those are my guys that are trying to get around the track real fast. My cars and buggies are usually my fighters. Oh, I'm busting this open as I'm talking. And then next, we got a gem. We got the 2016 Mercedes Amg. Look at this thing. This thing is awesome. This is actually one of my favorites for this team. I can't wait to... I think I have an idea of what I want to do with this bad boy, but this thing is looking awesome. Alright, so I went in, I dug around the bit boxes, and I think I came up with the loadout I want to give these bad boys. So first off, let's talk about tires. Got a bunch of tires from Ken's shop, and gotta clean them up a little bit more. But what I did was I got some of these tires. These are like dirt, really beefy dirt tires. Because what I want to do is, I was thinking about not changing out the tires because I want to give these guys more of like a faster speed look, and I'm going to kind of keep the cars new looking. I'm not going to tear these cars down. I'm not going to give them a crazy amount of battle damage. I want to really get in there and make them look kind of like they're fresh off the assembly line, ready to race. So, but I went with these dirt tires because when I'm thinking about Gaslands, when I'm thinking about the apocalypse, I'm thinking about rubble's all over the place. There's dirt, there's rubble, concrete's all broken up, the streets are all freaking broken up and crazy. So I'm going with these nice beefy dirt tires. So this car is going to get these beefy dirt tires. The Nissan is going to get the dirt tires, the turbo. And Skyline is going to get just a little bit more of like a hard tire. Still the dirt tires, but a little bit more of like a hard tire. I think these are just going to go good with this build. These are going to look really good on this car. So we're going with those tires there. And then we're going to go with more of the beefy round tires. We're going to put that with the yellow guy right here. And then I found these really nice. I put these on the Superman car from my sketch build. I really like these like skinny dirt tires. And I'm going to leave the front wheels on the exotics, and for the rear tires, I'm going to give them these bad boys right here. And I think that's going to be a pretty wicked look for both these exotic cars. So that's going to go there, and that's going to go there. Then we're going to dig into weapons. Now, if you guys all know me, I like mortars in the game. I don't know why. They always do well for me. So I'm thinking maybe a mortar going on the yellow guy. And he's also going to get a side Gatling gun, a side door gun. I don't normally do side mounted weapons because I don't really like it that much. But for these, I feel like it's going to fit in nicely. The turbo is going to get a rocket pod. So I got these rocket pods. These were also from Ken's shop. Now I got to come up with a way to rig these coming out the top of here. So I'm going to bust out these windows and I'm going to rig some mounts coming out the top to hold on to these rocket pods. That should be pretty cool. And then on the Skyline, I'm just going to go with a Gatling gun. I'm going to put a hood-mounted Gatling gun from Ken's shop. Digging these things. And then for the exotics, weapon-wise, the McFarlane isn't going to get much. I'm basically going with more driver upgrades for this thing, so I'm not going to really put any weapons on this thing. And for the Mercedes, I found this really cool rocket launcher from 40K. I chopped off the back of it to shorten it down a little bit. I'm going to flip it upside down, and it fits really nice in this.
There's vinage down there. You do a little bit more because look, there's a
two dog. Okay. Why? Blaster.
Alright everyone, it was a tough decision, but based on our time and all the amusement park, we have one of our choices now to see. Racing roads these days don't think it's fun now. How do you now think we want to stay? Alright, let's see if they put on a kid to play now.
you do a little bit more because look, there's
Groove right here, and I think that's going to look super sweet on this car. Because I got all these nice little mechanical parts on top and just sci-fi looking parts, and I think it mixes good with this car. So that's going to go there. So we got the weapons, we got the wheels, we got some plastic card, I got some diamond card. This is just a little bit. I have another sheet. I'm going to go pull that out. Alright. Even though the wife snuck her way through all my gently laid booby traps and tried to come in here chucking some plans at me, I managed to get these things glued together. I managed to get all the weapons glued in, the wheels I wanted to put in. I had to change a couple of things around because as I was building it, as you all know, things don't always go to plan. So I had to change a couple of things. This guy, I had a nice little minigun right on the side, swapped out both the tires, and I had to mix and match the tires a little bit. So I put those thinner dirt tires on the front, and I put the thicker tires on the back, but I did the double tires that are side by side with one another because I thought that kind of took the profile and made it a little bit beefy. Beefed up the profile a little bit, got those tires sticking out the sides, which is what I like. Then I took some exhaust tubing and I slapped it on the back. I had to even it out because that was bugging me. So I got the tubing all set up. And the wheels on this thing, I love the minigun. I love that it's more simplistic and not just covered in armor plates and like gates and cages like I normally do. So it kind of feels good to do like a more streamlined, build to these cars and not have to go too crazy. So on this bad boy, I put the skinny tires on the back, which I thought looked pretty cool for this guy, and I left the regular stock tires on the front, so it raised the back a little bit, and it gives them the traction that you would think they need with those cool tires on the back. Now, I'm not a car expert, so this car could be rear-wheel drive. I hope it is, and having those dirt tires on there would be better. And also I put the exhaust pipes in the back, which made that car kind of pop. Then on the Mercedes, I added a simple rocket launcher. And that's basically it. I just want this thing to have a rocket launcher in case anybody gets in his way. He has to send a rocket and blast them to oblivion. And this too, I kind of left the stock tires on there because I didn't want to cut this car up. So I didn't want to cut it up and... Because the only way I could have gotten the bigger tires in there was I would have had to take a saw and start cutting into the wheel wells. And that would have, defeated what I'm trying to do, which is keep these cars more stock and just add a little weapon here or there. And, stay away from what I normally want to do, and that's just jump into my bits box and slam a bunch of bits onto these things. That one also, I kept the same tires on there because it was the same thing. I didn't want to have to cut into it to fit the bigger tires on there. So I took a minigun, I slapped it on the front, and I kind of just left this car alone because I like the way it looks by itself. So minigun on the hood, and that's it. Move on to the next car, please. Next. Now this car, I kind of went a little crazy and a little bit, off the cuff here. So I added a rocket pod on the top, and I also added a mortar because I love mortars. And mortars always do well for me in games. I know I said that before. So I kind of got a mortar sticking out the top of this thing. I got the rocket pod. And there are going to be games where I just want to run rockets. Or there's going to be games where I just want to run the mortar. So I kind of just put both weapons on there, and I could choose which weapon I want to use. I do have to mention also, on these cars I also did wheel swaps. So I didn't actually keep all the cars like wheels. The ones that have the regular Hot Wheels wheels, I actually did wheel swaps on a couple. So I have some larger tires in the back with the small tires in the front. And that's about it. These things are ready for paint. Okay, so we got these guys. We got a lot of paint on these guys down. I was messing with a couple of paint patterns, a couple of paint schemes, but I'm pretty much got these guys where I want them to be. let me move this paint tray out of the way. Alright, so what I wanted to do with these guys, I definitely wanted to do cherry blossoms going across the whole entire car. Because my theme of the team is cherry blossoms. So that's the name of the team, and I wanted to just get that theme going across all the cars. So I got them all basically coated down with the yellow. I got all the cherry blossom work pretty much done on these bad boys. And then this guy right here is pretty much the finished product of how I want these cars to be when they're all done. So I kind of went in there, I got the yellows down, got the yellows out. I like the way the yellow turned out. I was going for a little bit of a brighter yellow in my mind at first, but it just wasn't working out. This is one of these projects where I'm going to have to admit it kind of got away from me a little bit. And that's okay. You're going to have projects every once in a while where you're going to have a lot of ideas in your head and they're not going to translate well when you try and put them down on top of the models. It happens. You know, you have all these funky ideas. You're like, I want to have this, I want to have that. But when you go and try and put it onto the models, it starts to look ridiculous, or it's just not coming out the way that you pictured it or you imagine it in your head. So sometimes, you know, a project could just run away from you, and that could sometimes cause you to want to put the project to the side and just not look at it for a while. And that's kind of what happened to me with this. I planned on getting this video out a little bit earlier because I had built these guys up, you know, and I was all pumped about it. And then I had this whole big theme in my head where I want them to be yellow with the cherry blossoms, and I had ideas for the windows and this and that. And then as I started to do it, I'm like, wow, this isn't coming out how I envisioned it in my head. And I kind of put these guys aside. I was doing other things. I was playing some video games. I just kind of got sidetracked, and I was sidetracked because I knew I had this project that I wanted to finish, and that actually held me up from doing what I like to do. And that sometimes happens. You just get annoyed at a project and you kind of just want to walk away from it for a little while, and that's what happened to me. So I just decided, you know what, I got some extra time. I've been home a lot lately. Obviously, we all have. So I wanted to just, you know, try and give a solid crack at these guys. So I picked the cars back up again. I kind of stripped them down from what I was doing, and then I just went back at it again. And still, it just wasn't coming out how I envisioned it in my head. So I kind of just stuck with it. I finished out the flowers, and as I finished it out, it started to look better and better. It's still not 100% where I want it to be, but you know what? This is where it is. And I'm not going to go back and change up the whole entire thing. There's plenty of cars, there's plenty of projects, and I'm just going to finish these up, and that's that. And I'm going to move on from these bad boys. Anyway, the finished product of how I want this team to look when it's all done, I did this guy pretty much finished. So I went in there, I got the yellows done, I got the cherry blossoms. I wanted the windows to be like a red tint because I thought the red tinted windows was like a nice contrast against the yellow and the cherry blossoms. And then with the weapons, I wanted them to be black. I didn't want to have much silver or chrome on these. I want them to kind of be, you know, even though they're yellow with this like ridiculous pattern, I kind of wanted them to feel a little bit like stealthy also. So I didn't want to have a bunch of chrome. I didn't want to have a bunch of silver. I wanted to have just everything. I wanted the yellow to pop, the reds to pop, and then everything else to be muted down. So that's why with the weapons, I went with like a very dark tone blacks, and I just highlighted them. I gave them some cell shading. I did the wings black, the exhaust pipes, and the front grille black, because like I said, I didn't want to have a whole bunch of silver on there. I just do too much. I always do silver, I always do chromes, I always do like rusted metals, and I kind of wanted to stay away from that for like one project. So I decided to not have all the rusted metals and things like that. So these guys are cleaner than the cars I would normally put out for this sort of thing, but they still kind of do have that feel of just like being a little dirty, being a little grimy, because you're in Gaslands, man. You're in a post-apocalyptic area, and you're not going to have a super clean paint job. So anyway, these are the cherry blossoms. This is going to be the finished result of all the cars. So I think once all the cars are done and they all got the red windows and they all got the wings painted black and the weapons painted up, I think that's going to really, the whole team's going to pop at the end. So the project at the end came out pretty good. You know, when I got this guy finished up, I said, you know what, let me finish one of these. Because what I was doing, I was painting them all at the same time. I was like, let me finish one and see how that comes out, and that might motivate me to finish the rest of the team, and I think it kind of did. Let me know what you guys think. You know, was this a hit or a miss? I don't know. I'm still on the fence with these guys, but I mean, I'm a fan of the result. At the end, I do like how the finished product did come out, and I'm going to consider these guys pretty much done. You know, I'm going to go back in, I'm going to finish these guys out, and then the project will be done. But anyway, get gaming, get out there, roll some dice, flip some cards, whatever you guys do, just get in your games. All right, talk to you guys later.
Fantastic.